Hey everybody, Fast Coasters here, and today we're going to be reviewing Wildcat's Revenge. So in this video, I'm going to give you all the everything you need to know about Wildcat's Revenge before you get on. So we'll start off with the stats here. Of course, if you're watching this video, you know that it is at Hersheypark in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It is a redo of the old Wildcat coaster, which was a GCI wooden coaster, which was not very good if you ask me. So RMC came in, they worked their magic, and they made a great coaster, as you will see in this video. So the height of the coaster is 140 feet, so it's not a huge RMC. It's about in the middle of where they usually are. It has a speed of 62 miles an hour. It has a track length of 3,510 feet, has four inversions, has a vertical angle of 82 degrees, and has a full duration from leaving the station to coming into the station of 2 minutes and 36 seconds. So now that we went over the stats, we're going to go over the entry experience. So when you're walking up to the coaster, and first, before we get on to the entry experience, I want to just let you know, when should you ride this roller coaster? Now, of course, the layout of Hersheypark, this coaster is all the way in the back of the park. So my recommendation, as soon as you come in, you go all the way to the back of the park. If you're prioritizing credits, it's good to go to the back as well. You can get on Wildcat and you can hit out Laugh Track, Wild Mouse, and Fahrenheit, because those do get the longest lines in the entire park. Do not go to the front because everybody's going to go to Candemonium first. That's always the one that gets packed. So you want to go to the back, get on Wildcat. There won't be a line. So as you're walking up to Wildcat, the area is presented beautifully. There's nice, planning around, as you can see in this video, of the colors. You got the maintenance building that they made look really nice considering its placement. Got the Wildcat's Revenge logo on there. You could see the third and fourth inversions crossing over each other, which is a great visual. If you walk down the path, you see the entrance sign, which is right where the old Wildcat entrance was, and they placed a great piece, of history with the old Wildcat track right next to the sign. I think that's a great touch and gives it a unique look. So you see the big entrance sign, and underneath is the test seat. Now, of course, if you feel like you're going to have a problem getting in the seat, please try the test seat first, because then that's just going to hold up operations if you don't, and if you don't fit, I would just recommend the test seat so you're absolutely sure that you will fit when you get into the ride. So we get into the queue line. So this is a great queue line in my opinion. There's some shade with the trees. You got fans in the queue. I believe so there is a cattle pen, but unfortunately I don't believe it has a covering, which is a little strange. But typically you're not really waiting in there unless the park is packed. So if you're waiting in the cattle pen, I'd say it'd be about maybe 45 minutes. But if you're not, it'd probably be about 20 minutes max. So they're really quick, which brings me on to the operations of the ride. If it's on three trains, typically it's very fast getting on. One is when one hits the brakes, the other one's already going up the lift. I went opening weekend and they were slamming them, but of course that was the opening weekend of the ride. But, on quiet days, they will operate it on two trains, which still isn't bad, but three trains, of course, is when the line's going to move fastest. So when you're waiting in the queue, you get a great view of the coaster. You get beautiful views, which is what most of the shots in this video are coming from. Beautiful views of the coaster going around. You can see the whole layout right in front of you. And then we move up to the lockers. So the lockers, I do urge you, please, please, please put all your stuff in the locker. Because if you don't and they find you and they see something on you, they will send you back down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No, can I leave it in the station? No, you have to put everything in a locker or else they will not let you on. So put all your stuff in the locker. It is a double-sided locker. It is free, so you don't have to worry about using it. Just make sure you remember the number of the locker and your passcode going into the locker, of course. So after you get done with the lockers, you'll go up the stairs right into the load station. So there are two stations. There's a load, there's an unload. We'll get to the unload after, but the load station, they won't usually assign seats. I think they would only do that if it's really crowded, but the only time I have my seat assigned on Wildcat was the opening weekend. Every time I've gone after that, I've been able to sit wherever I want. My recommendation is go to the back because a lot of people, they crowd the middle and a lot of people don't see the back. So I'd go to the back first, and then maybe on your second ride, you can wait for the front. Just know that the front row it's always going to have a queue. But both experiences are great, so I definitely recommend trying out both if you haven't before. So then we get on the ride, and it's where the fun part happens. Now we can talk about the ride layout. So as you leave the station, audio plays of a Wildcat roaring, and you leave the station and you go down I believe it's a triple down, basically, right? Coming out of the station. You see it in the POV here. But you come out of the station in what I think is the best pre-lift section on a RMC that I've done. For reference, the only other hybrids that I've done are Twisted Timbers, Iron Gwazi, and Steel Vengeance. So out of all of those, I do believe Wildcat has the best pre-lift section. Come around the pre-lift section, gives you just a small preview of what you're going to experience. So you come around the pre-lift section, and then you go up the lift hill. Now, as a warning, the lift hill is very loud, as all RMCs are. The lift hill is usually extremely loud. In the queue, you could always hear when it comes up, and even when you're by Fahrenheit walking down, you could hear it hit the lift, and you could. That's how I tell usually when the ride's operating, when I hear the lift. So you go up the lift. It goes up. It starts going up slow if it's on 3 trains because you have to wait for the third train to get into the unload. But as soon as it gets into that unload, you'll speed up, go straight to the top, and then we have the first drop. Now the first drop is good, but it is quite underwhelming compared to the rest of the ride. I think the ride shines in the second half, but the first drop is good. In the back, you get some good airtime. Front, you hang over, but the back is usually typically where the first drop will be the best. Then we go into the world's largest underflip, which, in my opinion, it is the weakest part of the ride. It's still a very good part, but it is the weakest part of the roller coaster because there's not really too much airtime going on. You get a teeny bit of hang time in the front, but I just use that, honestly, just to gauge how fast the ride is running. If it really whips through that, you're going to get a really fast ride. But if it goes through there at a normal speed, you're probably going to get a slower ride, which in the morning, of course, is going to be slower. So definitely come back here in the evening, definitely for the fastest it can be. So you come down there and then you get whipped up into this incredible airtime hill, which is one of the probably the best airtime moment in the park. Get shot right over there, ejector the whole way through. Then you come down up into a little double up into the wave turn, the first wave turn. The second wave turn's better, but the first wave turn is pretty fun. Originally, I did think this was going to be just a normal curve, so do appreciate the wave turn. Get some good visuals off ride of it as well. Of course, get flung out of your seat in any row on this element, and then we drop down into the stall. Now, the stall, it is good. Obviously, it's no Zadra, it's no Goliath at Great America, but it is a stall. You do get some hang time. It is better than Iron Gwazi's stall. Iron Gwazi's stall, you really just whip through that. You can't even process it. So there is some good hang time on this stall. And then what I like about it the best is when you're coming out of it, there's a whip when you come out of it. So it whips from the left to the right instead of coming out on the right and continuing to turn. So you get a really good pop of coming out of your seat when you go from the left to the right, especially in the back, you whip really fast. Then we come to the second wave turn. You cross under the underflip, you go up to the second wave turn. And this is one of my favorite parts of the ride personally because you get absolutely flung out of your seat. Just incredible speed going around. You get flung out of the seat, goes right past the queue line so everybody could see. And then we go into this strange double down element. It's not really like a traditional double down. You get a lot of laterals on this double down. So you're getting airtime going down where you're getting tossed to the side, which is a really cool sensation. And then we get to the third inversion, which is just a 0G roll over where the pre-lift section is. And I would recommend moving with the coaster on this element because if you're not ready and it's going really fast, you will get whipped into the side because it really goes through this with a ton of power. So you get whipped to the right, come out on the left to really incredible inversion. You get whipped really quickly. Then you go into this overbank, which, other than I said the underflip was the weakest part of the ride, but by default, this is the weakest part of the ride. Obviously, the underflip, I think, is the weakest element. But this overbank is really just to get you from point A to point B, get you from number 3 to number 4. It's a good sensation. Obviously, you can look down, put your hand out. You really feel like you're going to touch the wood. But, it's just a turn, get you from one side to the other. Then you go into the fourth inversion, which in my opinion, I do think this is, it's not as good as the third inversion, but it's still pretty good. Better than the underflip in my opinion, but you go through it pretty quickly with a lot of speed. And then coming through the end, you go to one little airtime hill and then you get flung up into the brakes. Now this last airtime hill and then the brakes, you get some insane ejector airtime. You feel like you're going to get whipped right out of the seat. You do got to hold on. It could be a little jarring your first time, especially going into the brakes, because on the brakes, it's, again, another lateral airtime moment where you're getting tossed to the side. But yeah, that'll end the experience. You go right into the brakes, and then you turn into the unload station. Now, the unload station, of course, you exit to the right. I did see someone exit to the left once and step on the catwalk, and that shut the whole ride down. So please don't do that. Please go to the right. You go down, you go to your locker. Of course, if you Just make sure you remember that locker number and the code, and you'll get your stuff and you'll be on your way. The photo booth is right across from it where they take your photo. They do take your photo at the bottom of the first drop. If you're wondering, that is where the photo is taken. And then you exit the ride right next to the entrance. So overall, it is an incredible coaster. It is my personal favorite roller coaster at Hersheypark. It's definitely getting a 10 out of 10 for me. It's definitely a perfect roller coaster. It is better than Sky Rush. Sky Rush is also, up there for me. But Wildcat's Revenge is definitely in my top five. Of course, how it ranks against the other RMCs I've been on. I do think Steel Vengeance and Iron Gwazi, of course, I do think those are better than this one. I do put this right above Twisted Timbers for me in terms of the hybrids. I do put Wildcat's Revenge right above Twisted Timbers. And of course, I do think it is better than Jersey Devil Coaster. While Jersey Devil Coaster is still a great ride, this definitely just puts it in the mud, definitely puts it to shame. So definitely the best coaster at Hersheypark. Absolutely get on it if this is your first time or any time actually. Definitely get on this ride. You will be amazed. So thank you for watching this review, and there will be more coming. I'll have it in a playlist. Obviously, I have my older reviews there, but I'm going to be deleting those because they're just PowerPoints. Nobody wants to read. So I'm definitely going to be putting this in the reviews playlist. And if you want to check out my other reviews in a few months' time, if you're watching this and it's not new, there'll be other reviews there, hopefully, and they'll be ordered by park. So all the Hershey ones will be first, then probably the Great Adventure ones, and so on and so forth. So thank you guys for watching this review, and I hope you tune in for more.